Hi, folks. This is Mountain Man coming to you from parts unknown. I hope everyone is doing well tonight. And we got a lot to talk about, as per usual. And things did take a development. We had a Apache chopper shot down and a dramatic story behind it. And we doled out some retaliation, and there may be more to come. So anyway, KARMELO, he's going to be facing decades in jail. His life changed in the snap of a finger, as a judge explained to them right after the announcement of his verdict. But anyway, we're going to talk about that and a lot of other things. And but what do? I'm going to play a video that Trump put up about retaliation. Okay, we're going to talk about that also because it has to do with the laws of war. But anyway, folks, I play some videos to give people time to get themselves a cup of coffee or a cold brouhaha or an adult beverage of your choice, whatever is your want. And then what will we do? We'll be like butter and get on a roll.
Scenario 1, or Pericles 1, to use its code name, sir.
What is the virtue of a proportional response?
I'm sorry?
What is the virtue of a proportional response? Why is it good? They hit an airplane, so we hit a transmitter, right? That's a proportional response.
Sir, in the case of Pericles 1...
They hit a barracks, we hit 2 transmitters.
That's roughly it, yes, sir.
This is what we do. I mean, this is what we do.
Yes, sir. It's what we do. It's what we...
Remember that. What is the virtue of a proportionate response?
We've always done.
Well, if it's what we do, if it's what we've always done, don't they know we're going to do it?
Sir, if you turn your attention to Pericles 1.
I have turned my attention to Pericles 1. It's 2 ammo dumps, an abandoned railroad bridge, and a Syrian intelligence agency.
Those are 4 highly rated targets, sir.
But they know we're going to do that. They know we're going to do that. Those areas have been abandoned for 3 days now. We know that from the satellite, right? We have the intelligence.
Sir.
They did that, so we did this. It's the cost of doing business. It's been factored in, right?
Mr. President.
Am I right, or am I missing something here?
No, sir, you're right, sir.
Then I ask again, what is the virtue of a proportional response?
It isn't virtuous, Mr. President. It's all there is, sir.
It is not all there is.
Sir, Admiral Fitzwallace.
Excuse me, Leo. Pardon me, Mr. President. Just what else is there?
The disproportional response. Let the word ring forth from this time and this place, gentlemen. You kill an American, any American, we don't come back with a proportional response. We come back with total disaster.
Storm zone.
Yes, sir.
I'm wondering what storm you're talking about.
They have unsuccessfully tried to take down the wrong person.
He's absolutely going to come back with full vengeance the next time around.
Well, think about what 4 years of a retribution presidency might look like. Our Constitution really does give the president tremendous power to destroy. This will be something we could never have imagined. Now the gloves are off.
Some of Trump's close political allies told him they are working on figuring out the identities of the FBI and DOJ staff and forming lists.
I will direct a completely overhauled DOJ to investigate every radical DA and AG in America for their illegal, racist enforcement of the law. If the deep state is destroying our nation, but the tables must turn and we will quickly destroy the deep state. We know where the bodies are buried. There are a lot of people out there that have done some very, very evil things, very bad things, I would say treasonous things against our country. People that have done such harm to our country. I've been looking at them for a long time. He could order the investigation and prosecution of individuals who he sees as enemies. Put them all in jail where they belong. You gotta get tough and smart, and you have to fight fire with fire. You can't allow this to go on.
Hi, folks. Thank you all for joining me. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys are doing well. And let's see who came in tonight to see me. Ha, ha, ha. To see each other. Todd's here. Hi, Todd. Darla, Sherry, Tammy. Nice to see you, Colette. All right. Melinda, nice to see you. And Frank. Robin's here. Ha ha. Elva. Mark, how you doing? Oh my goodness. Diddy will be out here in a little bit. Brett, how you doing? Lori, nice to see you. But that'd be right up his alley, I'm sure. Ha ha. Mark's talking about reptilians. Oh my. What was that, in the book of Job? I didn't read anything about that in the book. Let's see. Cole, nice to see you. Nice to see you, Cole. Nice to see you. All right. Who else is coming in? Frank's here. Yep, listening about reptilians. Oh, my. So anyway. Then we'll get into Bigfoot, too. We might even talk about, I don't waste my time on that stuff. Bigfoot come around here. I have a new runner for the rug. Let's see. Gary's here. Ha ha. Nice to see you, Gary. And Cynthia's here. Let's see who else is coming in. Miss Mindersue, followed up by Roland. Ha ha ha. Nice to see you. All right. Did I miss anybody? Kim's here. Nice to see you, Kim. So anyway, folks, I put unstoppable retaliation because, you know, as the drama unfolded with the Apache being shot down, it got to the point where Trump, Hegseth, and CENTCOM announced ahead of time, we're coming in at 5 o'clock. Eastern Standard Time or Eastern Daylight Time, whatever. And we're going to get our retaliation. In other words, they said, we're going to put one upside your head at this specific time. And there ain't nothing you can do about it. That's just to show them how impotent they are, okay? None of the business of, we're going to sneak in and do it. Here's where I got the thumbnail picture. This was from Ruski News. About, 4:30 Eastern Time. 8:30, somewhere around there. About 4 hours after they said they would start, U.S. complete strikes in response to Iran's attack on Apache. U.S. Central Command said it has completed its response to the Iranian attack on a U.S. Apache helicopter. Well, yeah, quick and dirty, and 20 plus sites bombed. And they were picked ahead of time, I'm sure. And I got some pre-reports. I'm just showing you the close to the latest of the situation. We don't need people sitting on the edge of the seat for nothing. I'm not here for clicks and drama or things like that. I'm telling you like it is. They messed around and they found out. And, I found another. It's not like I got to look for it. You got to just discern it. You got to discern their new talking point, their new narrative against Trump, because we know this is a foreign and domestic enemies of our nation. And the press is part of the assisting, I'll put it that way, the foreign interference with the operation of our government. The new thing now is wasted money. A Social Security crisis coming and wasted money. Of course, by the Trump administration. constantly peppering and dropping into news articles, YouTube feed, Google alerts, things that can be criticized as wastes of money. Oh, really, Cynthia? Yeah. Well, he said he was thinking about power stations, water stations. And I tell you, there was an interesting picture that was put up without a comment on a Telegram channel. You know, you got to be careful when you go on them Telegram channels. So where is it? And usually it says this happened over this city in this country, whatever. So, but no, this one was just a. Oh my goodness, where did it go? A picture of it looked to me like a mountaintop being blown off, with no. I guess when I come across it. No real description of location or anything. But anyway, this stuff is stretched out so far from when this began. And once again, I'm going to say a pat on the back is 18 inches away from a kick in the pants, right? I'm aware of that. And but I did say multiple times that oil was getting through. I said there's a clandestine oil being metered out to keep the wells from being destroyed. And Trump disclosed today in the Oval Office, yes. Just as an example, last night they got 22 vessels out, oil tankers full. They've gotten hundreds out. Hundreds of thousands of barrels of oil have been going through. Yeah, Frank, that's a boogeyman stuff the press is putting out about Social Security. It's not supposed to be touched. Well, tell that to all the Somalians, the Senegalese, the Congolese, whoever the hell's been getting Social Security for the past however many decades since Obama got in, at least. Immigrants. Okay. Oh my goodness, I moved my whole screen here. Anyway, yeah. Now they're acting like, oh, Trump's he's spending money for this, he's spending money for that, he's spending money. Oh, by the way, did you know the trust fund is going to be running out of money? So it's all to ease into people's brains that somehow Trump is the problem when they've been letting here, like the Newsmax, they're guilty of it too. I'm giving Newsmax a side eye. I give them all a side eye. Aggressive schedule in place for Trump's triumphal arc. They're talking about the security costs of Trump going to the ball game. They're talking about the costs of the UFC fight. That's how you say it coming up. All this kind of crap. But as far as our circle of people, I was going to use this for a thumbnail. Because Trump was in the Situation Room. Now you know what the Situation Room looks like. But by the time this video went to go live, the Situation Room was like, oh, okay, let's go get dinner. We took care of the retaliation. And I'll play that intro video in a little bit. Where'd they get that from? The West Wing? The West Wing, that program, The West Wing. Proportionality. That has to do with the laws of war. And I see how they have misled past presidents as far as how to wage war and respond to provocations. So Trump's not falling for it. That's why he put that video up. Yeah, Obama went to all kinds of basketball games, Cindy. That's right. Oh, well, they say it's going to be, I don't know if it's going to be a surprise or not, but it's going to be 100,000 people there. I didn't know it was that, I thought it was going to be like a limited number of people who would physically be there, and, and it would be televised, certain cable channels, or remember we used to have closed circuit and all that kind of stuff. Well, it's going to be a pretty big event. 100,000 people, that's more than most stadiums. So, yeah. But like I say, the narrative is going to be about Trump's spending, about how much the war costs, about this and that. And meanwhile, don't forget about this guy. Fox News put this up. I didn't see any reports on him other than Fox News. Have you all seen any word about this guy other than Fox News? Bigger scandal than Bernie Madoff, they said. And who was the judge who handled this scam Stankman fraud? Because, it's all moves, counter moves. We know about Carmelo Anthony. We know about Iran. We know about the Gulf. We know about this and that. We're going to talk about all that stuff, too. But we're talking about stuff on the back burners. We're going to talk about stuff that's in their planning stages. We're going to talk about the psychological operations they initiate against our friends and family. He asked for a pardon. And that's exactly right, Gary. Who's in control is God. But who was the judge that handled his case? Remember. Oh, yeah, the Iranian team. I don't know if they'll allow him in. Hi, MS, how you doing? MS Motorsports. Pappy Two Bears, nice to see you. I don't know if they'll let them come over. But it was like I intimated last week and the week before. Mark, how you doing? Democrats seating in California. That's exactly right. There's arrests imminent for that. Who knows what the level's going to be, but we'll talk about that too. We have been supplying what I'll call the gray hats. I won't call them white hats, but the gray hats in the Iranian government that have been trying to cooperate with us and trying to be a part of civilization again, like Iran used to be, and keeping those wells open. And keeping the black hats from getting the money. But let's see. Did anybody guess? Let's see here. About this creep. I thought I saw the judge's name. No guesses on the judge's name. Well, it's the same judge that handled a case against Trump. It's the same judge that extrajudicially commented, saying and branded Trump, gave the mainstream media the permission, which was short-lived, to call Trump a RAP-ist, okay? An RAP-ist, and that is Judge Kaplan. The greasy-looking Judge Kaplan is the same one who bent over backwards to destroy Trump and gave that judgment to that crazy woman over lies. Worked with George Conway and all the other, and the LinkedIn creep that went to Epstein Island all the time. to change the law temporarily for Trump to be sued, the statute of limitations. He's the same one that's handling the scam Stankman fraud. And remember, what's her name? Maxine Waters, looking at scam Stankman fraud all dreamy and doing these visual hugs with him and teary-eyed when he was testifying. Oh, gay pride at the same time. Iranians are coming in. Well, I don't know. I don't know. I'm sure we're going to, we got people that got heads on right in Department of Homeland Security. Scam, Stankman fraud. I didn't steal user funds. That's the other thing about, I was like, we're talking billions. And all of a sudden it all got restored. It all got put back in the account. How the hell did that happen? Convicted FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried is maintaining he did nothing criminal in exclusive prison interview with Fox Business, even as he serves a 25-year sentence tied to the collapse of cryptocurrency exchange. Bankman-Fried argues prosecutors got it wrong and said he never intended to defraud customers. Once worth billions, the former crypto billionaire saw his fortune evaporate after FTX's stunning downfall wiped out customer funds and triggered one of the biggest financial scandals in recent history. Okay, well, that's what that says. Whoops, sorry, wait a minute. But what does this one photograph say? It says, customers have been repaid now 170% or so on their deposits. It's one of the very few cases where the platform was over-collateralized, where customers were more than made whole. How does that make any sense? Somebody put the fix in somewhere. And they coughed up some damn money real quick. I wouldn't be surprised if it came out of our hide somehow. Somehow it came out of taxpayer money, government money, to restore that outfit and to keep him from running his mouth. Something rotten in Denmark there. Something rotten in Denmark. And he's probably going to get out. So just keep an eye on it. Carmelo Anthony kicking himself for not converting to Islam and stabbing someone in the UK instead. And I'm sure all of you have heard about the horror that happened in Belfast. That's the second time. Who remembers about 15 years ago, a police officer being beheaded in London? And a woman came up to try to help. And these two migrants were standing there, and you could see the red stuff all over their hands and arms. And they were saying, well, we're sorry we had to do this in front of a woman, but it had to be done. And they got the whoop-de-doo sentence of life, which you probably won't serve that. But that was the second time it happened. And they're rioting over it. They should be. They should be. I got a video where they're using water cannons on, it's an aerial view. It's not that, but anyway, how close were we to going through OJ 2.0? But this time, the nation is fed up. The nation is fed up. Keep teaching your kids to hate white people. And that they will get away with anything as long as the victim is white. And it'll end up throwing their life away like Carmelo Anthony did. Carmelo. Hate will absolutely destroy your life. That's the lesson they need to learn. But you watch some of these YouTube videos of people making excuses for them. You watch what these people out in the street were doing. Well, the Irish been trying to take it back, Tammy, for, as said, 400 years. The IRA and all that. Iran go bra. I can't say that and be broadcast over in the UK. I forgot about that. But anyway, Irish Republican Army. The UK, all countries under the crown need to take their country back. But anyway, Carmelo, he got a haircut. He got all that. What my mother would say if my hair looked like that, she'd say, you look like you got a rat's nest on your head. How many times did your mother say that to you? He had that plowed off so he could fake out or try to fake out the jury. It didn't work very good. But Christine Aguayo put up this. Christine Aguayo, Carmelo Anthony, fresh mugshot drop. Carmelo Anthony, Collin County Jail on night one of his 35-year murder bid. Then off to prison. Here he is. Here he is. You know how that went down. It went so fast. But it went fast as far as notorious cases. But like Andrew Branca said, the average murder trial is like 2 days, maybe a day, 2 days, seldom 3. A regular murder trial. And it happens all the time around this country. And they act like it was bum rushed through. How close we came. Imagine if the judge in charge was the same judge that let Carmelo out on bail. Let him stay on house arrest. A murderer. And yes, they did rent a $900,000 home in a gated community. And the people living in that neighborhood found out later on that they had somebody living there that plunged a knife in another person's heart over a spat at a track meet. And imagine if it was that same judge handling this case. What kind of garbage could have come out? What if it was Ketanji Brown Jackson having a say-so over this and gave the green light for any perceived slight to be magnified into a claim of self-defense and justifying seriously injuring or taking the life of another human being? We're that close to ending up in that kind of third world savagery. We're very fortunate. That was the judge that was over Carmelo Anthony, his trial. It was his last case. His last case, he's retiring. I'm not going to say he was a conservative judge. He was a normal judge. A real judge. Not this kind of garbage we got now that we're dealing with. Trying to trip up Trump every time he turns around. But I tell you what, I saw normal people. I put up black and white sports. I had another channel I wanted to put up that was very fair and realistic, but I didn't get to it. Let me see if I still have it in the studio. You know, there are plenty of, I'll say, people of color, however they want it, whatever is the acceptable way of saying that. that think exactly as we do. They're normal. But man, it's these outliers that are getting the spotlight. Now, I'm not going to play the. I'm going to just put up stuff to mock him. To mock him, yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible, but he did it. Nation shocked as jury rules you cannot stab someone in the heart for no reason at all. They were putting forth the most ridiculous lies. Now, I know defense attorneys have a duty to jealously defend their client. And they should be made to jealously defend their client. You can't just have somebody collect a paycheck and not really be engaged in the case, you know. But lying, saying he was being pounded on by multiple people and he was surrounded by 300-pound brother and things of that nature. You know, whatever's said in court, if it was one thing that I only heard one creator talk about at the time, now I heard a couple today, was where the defense attorney said that he might have fell on the knife or thrown himself on the knife, and it got gasps of shocked gasps from the jury and the gallery. And he quickly changed. But I mean, any misrepresentations, purposeful misrepresentations. Listen, look here. You know who this is? Jasmine Crockett. And thank God she's getting the hell out of here. We got to put up with her. We need to do something about this. Where they're in office for another 7 months. She was selected, okay? She's a nothing. And she's in a position of power. Here, I believe this is the clip where she's saying, a knife is not a deadly weapon. A knife is not a deadly weapon. Maybe those fake fingernails are, I don't know.
Awful
Wait a minute, was it a switch? I don't know what he had.
It was like it seemed like it was a multi-tool, almost like a Swiss Army.
Like with like with the little scissors and everything and whatever. So it was small. Well, I would have argued the size of it alone, you wouldn't even think it's a deadly weapon.
And that's
forgot he had it in the bag.
If it was one of the little, like I don't know, like I do think.
Well, that's why he went to his coach and was like, but I don't think I heard him that.
It wasn't a Swiss Army knife. You know, and CNN had a woman on there saying that he was shoved and then he fumbled in his bag and came up with the knife like he was nervously looking for it. No, I posit to you exactly what the jury considered is that it was open. He had it in his hand. He knew exactly what he was going to do, and he did it the instant he was touched. They misrepresent and they lie hand in hand with these news agencies. I got another clip of her babbling about something. I might as well find it, get her out of the way. What are you babbling about now, Jasmine? You know, his lawyer had a pink suit on. You know, I guess it's Pride Month because chat pointed out that Stephen A. Smith was wearing a pink suit. But anyway, what would possess a defense attorney at a case like this to go into court with a pink suit? But anyway, I don't know why I'm talking about that. But here's Jasmine babbling about something.
If I see a black pilot I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified. Does that sound like a hater or not?
That sounds like a racial stereotype.
Okay, sounds good to me.
I had a previous colleague that talked about seeing a black pilot and what that would mean to Charlie Kirk's comments. And it's funny, black pilot here, by the way. I actually went to flight school, West Point graduate, learned how to fly the Apache helicopter, went to flight school in 2005. You see, there was no DEI. We just simply competed with everyone else, and I was selected, fought in combat, went on to fly 55 combat air missions, and nobody gave a damn what I looked like because I got there on merit. What DEI does is it lowers standards based on race and based on gender.
There you go, Wesley Hunt. Yeah. He's saying, I'm a pilot. I was a pilot before all this DEI crap came around. And I'm going to say something in defense of Wesley Hunt. That is not a pink tie. It's mauve. Thank you very much. And I'm not sure when this was. I don't think this happened during Pride Month. But just some idiotic examples of Jasmine Crockett and whoever that woman was. It sounds to me like a racial stereotype. We got to bury this racist garbage like it was buried before Obama got in office. Okay. I need to get some background music. I'm just looking through the chats. Oh my goodness. Did you, Roland? Used to go with somebody with fingernails like that. Uh-oh, I hurt Gary's ears. I better, I get loud. I apologize. But here we're going to go along. I'm going to put them up as I come across it. These examples of where they're going to start a narrative of Trump spending too much money. Trump thinks he's a king. But we know about the king stuff. But this really hurt the lefties when Trump showed up at the basketball game. And the White House put this out, King of New York. Who's this little creep? Parnas? Yeah, Parnas. He had a problem with it. Breaking. The White House really posted this and called Donald Trump the King of New York. The same Trump who was booed at the Knicks game, not just inside the arena, but across every city he keeps pretending belongs to him. This is the same New Yorker that rejected him by massive margins and watched a jury convict him in a courtroom just blocks away. Thank you, Judge Kaplan. America does not have kings, and it never will. Even if it's a joke, this is the kind of rhetoric designed to chip away our institutions. Something Trump has spent years trying to do. Subscribe for more. Institutions of what? DEI and Iran, the Muslim Brotherhood getting the power to destroy civilization, those institutions, and illegal aliens looting this country, robbing us blind. Is that what you're talking about? It must be. Here's Tom Homan. I got a clip of him where he says he's going to New York. But before that, he said they don't care about national security. They don't care about public safety. All they care about is future political power. They sold this country out for future political power. And Kathy Hochul is part of it. Newsmax put that up. Tom Homan. And who's going to be the first governor to get it? Kathy Hochul? Tim Walz? Gavin Newsom? Somebody's got to get it. Let me see if I can find that clip. Well, I'll pop it up as I come across it. Here's some good news. These are the things that got them nervous. Department of Homeland Security approves plan to verify voter citizenship, monitor mail ballots in major win for Trump. One of these articles said they won't even deliver them if they're not cooperating with the federal government. The post office shall not deliver them. DHS approved a plan allowing states to verify voter citizenship through federal databases while also monitoring mail-in ballot activity for potential signs of fraud, advancing a central pillar of Donald Trump's election integrity agenda. The initiative, expected to launch later this month, would give election officials access to federal citizenship records and allow voter rolls to be checked against immigration and government databases. DHS also plans to work with UPS to track absentee and mail ballot flows, flag unusual patterns, and generate investigative leads. The move advances a major piece of President Trump's election integrity agenda. How long do you think it'll be before a judge says we can't do that? How long do you think it'll be before a judge steps in and says we have to let unvetted ballots fly around and be counted? And what are we going to do with judges like that? How are we going to get rid of judges like that? I had a comment, something about Dems being cheaters in the election. And this was on Midas Trash Network. And this guy, Ray Everett, he keeps putting up stuff about Trump, unflattering pictures and junk like that. So he answered me. Evidence, please. Trump screams when he loses, but happy to accept results when he wins. Can't have it both ways. A Republican was never going to win there. Talk about California. I answered him, and I said, gee, I'm not blocked. Wow. I am now, probably. I said, deportations, removing the dead, phony mail-ins, crooked counters, and so on. It's all happening. Nothing can stop it. Americans are against illegals voting, tranny teachers, welfare fraud, medical fraud, child mutilation, Marxist subversives in government, and other degenerate liberal deadbeat policies. Have a nice day. See, now, why would you block me? That was a very polite response, wouldn't you say? Wouldn't you say? I thought it was. And for whatever they're saying, Trump is running gangbusters over them. He's running gangbusters. Here's the results. Senate, House, Governor. According to my math, I could be wrong because I'm not good at math, but that's 150 to 1. 150 to 1. President Trump boosting his endorsement record after last night's primaries across the country. Following Tuesday's election, Trump-endorsed candidates are 140 now. Oh, okay, I will off by one. In Republican primaries, giving the president a 99% success rate. I beg to differ. I believe it's 99.5. The results are adding to the growing evidence that Trump's backing remains one of the most powerful forces in GOP politics. Once we get this Iran thing taken care of and prices come down, it's going to be sad for the demon rats. Speaking of demons, who's the judge in this setup? This was yesterday, I believe I got this screenshot. It might have been earlier today. I'm not sure. Federal judge finds DeCarlos Brown not fit for trial. He's the one that stabbed Irina Zarutska. So he's going to spend his decades or whatever in a hospital setting for criminally mentally insane. Drugged up, wandering around, watch TV. That's how he's going to live his life. Let's see. I'm trying to read the chats. It's kind of hard with the green background. Whoa. Let me see. You like my response, Miss Mender Sue? Randy is, I wonder if Randy made it home. Randy, if you're out there, we're thinking about you, buddy. And Miss Bender Sue, I hope you're doing well. How you feeling, Miss Bender Sue? Oh, there's so many investigations going on. You know, I saw Doug today pulling people that were talking about the fights between Dan Bongino, Cash Patel, Pam Bondi, and all this stuff. Let me tell you, we got a handle on whatever's going on. Oh, I said, I put this up yesterday or day before yesterday. I said, make sure you go out vote for Dave Flippo. I was thinking when I said it, it's a funny name. A different name, I'll put it that way. Flippo. And hey, you know, you get a catchy name, people remember, it helps you win, right? But so does Donald Trump's endorsement. And so he won. So that's good. I'll tell you what, Brandon Gill had a good day in Congress. I got some clips of him. I want to play them. Oh, you know when before I do that real quick, when they said that arrests are going to happen in California, did you notice they stopped playing games with Steve Hilton? And people got cold feet. Steve Hilton advances. That's exactly what happened. They had already committed a fraud against what's his name and got him kicked out. And then they announced, you know, there's going to be arrests. And they just arrested a woman a few weeks earlier and sentenced her for buying votes on Skid Row. Right there in the same area, LA area. And what did I say? When the birds sing, that woman's going to sing. Is singing. And then they announced, okay, we're down there investigating. There's going to be arrests. Next thing you know, Steve Hilton cruises. They stopped right there with their cheating. So anyway, let me see. Brandon Gill, where's he at? He's got some demon rats in front of him there we're going to keep an eye on this guy. You know, who is the one that, you know, a lot of them, you get real hopeful about them. You say, gee, I like them. They talk, you know, they're talking my language. And then down the road, they peter out. They do something stupid or rhino-ish. I don't think we're going to get that out of this kid. Or this young man, I'll put it that way.
Your organization shut down the Manhattan Bridge during rush hour a couple years ago to demand that New York State set up a $500 million fund to give unemployment benefits to illegal aliens. Do you think that was a good thing to do?
I don't know that my organization shut down anything, Congressman. I know that there was
March in NYC shuts down Manhattan Bridge to call for $500 million unemployment fund. The march was led by members of the FEW coalition, including the National Day Laborers Organizing Network. That is your organization.
That is. You're holding up a sheet of paper. I don't know where that's from.
This is from your website. This is from the National Day Laborers Organizing Network website.
Peaceful protesters do things when there's large crowds of people.
Does that include shutting down one of the busiest bridges in the nation in order to push for a $500 million fund to give taxpayer-funded unemployment benefits to illegal aliens?
I think we should give.
You think that's a good thing for the country?
I think we should allocate resources accordingly to people who are going to become citizens of this country eventually.
What if there were emergency vehicles
as
trying
Mark
to cross
Krikorian acknowledges, you
realize that there are people commuting to work, and the people commuting to work were the ones who were paying the taxes to fund these benefits that you want to give to illegal aliens.
Shutting down the busiest bridge. And he said, well, it was for peaceful protesters. Well, let me tell you something. If somebody wants to shut down a necessary artery for traffic, for people to live their lives, they're not peaceful. That's being hostile, okay? And the right to redress of your government and the right to peaceably assemble shouldn't include disrupting people's daily lives. And, we need to get that codified in something. Just because people are claiming they're peaceful and they have a right to be heard doesn't mean they can. But you see what he's showing there, that they give money to illegal aliens. They just throw it out there for them. Here, yeah, take as much as you want, and make daily life miserable for people who are paying taxes. But here's that aerial shot of people protesting in the UK about what happened. There it is up top, Belfast, about that horror that happened and the government not protecting people. And the person that prevented it from going all the way, if you know what I'm talking about, stopped a beheading. He's lucky he's not in jail. These governments the lights are cutting on. They're against their own citizens. They want to destroy their own countries and replace their citizens with ignorant anarchists that will keep them in power. It's just that simple. They're marching down the street and they blast them with a water can. And Keir Starmer came out denouncing the people who were protesting what happened to that man in the middle of the street. They're not representative of us. I'm waiting for the camera to pan out to see how many people it is. Why wouldn't you just let them march by? I just said about blocking the bridges. I don't even know what the people were protesting that were trying to close down the bridge. At least here on the streets, you can take a detour. You can't when it's a bridge. What are you going to do, swim? But they're just shooting around everywhere.
Your organization Restricting and banning abortion is a tool that the far right uses to maintain white supremacy. Do you believe that pro-lifers are white supremacists?
I believe that reproductive liberty is...
Do you believe that pro-lifers are white supremacists?
I'll tell you what I believe if you're asking.
Yes or no?
I can't answer that question, yes or no.
I don't think that pro-lifers are white supremacists. Do you?
What I think is that reproductive liberty is a right that every woman should enjoy.
Okay, how many babies in the United States that are aborted are black? About 40% of abortions nationwide are of black babies. Blacks represent about 13% of the population. Does that sound like something a white supremacist would oppose?
What I would say again is that SPLC supports reproductive liberty.
Calling somebody a white supremacist is a pretty serious charge, isn't it? I would think you would be able to defend that if your organization says that. You clearly seem unable to.
Mr. Gill, I'm not sure why you would think I'm unable to do anything.
You're the president of the SPLC, which labels pro-lifers as racists.
Well,
does your organization just hurl around epithets like that without any justification?
He's the interim president. My goodness, I must be having mic problems. Yeah, I saw like 10 people dropped off. And yeah, I don't know what happened. Oh, man. Have to keep an eye on it. Anyway, there's an alert from Fox. I got a couple of Fox alerts. Let me see what this is. Let's see, alert. Did y'all hear what I was saying about what was going on in Georgia? I'm asking the chats, or did anybody hear what I said was going on in Georgia and from sea to shining sea? Did y'all hear that? Please let me know. I'm going to play this clip.
We're learning more about the U.S. airstrikes in Iran. Let's go back to Jennifer Griffin with the latest. Jennifer?
Well, we've just learned from a senior U.S. defense official that the strikes are ongoing as we speak right now, and that some of the targets that we can confirm at this point are air defense systems inside Iran, as well as radar installations.
Yeah, that was going to play. That was at 5. What does that clock say up there? 5:34 Eastern time. They still had another 2 hours of bombing to do. But like I said, it started right on time. There wasn't nothing they could do about it. Oh, y'all didn't hear that? I was saying that there is what the administration is handling all around the country. It's hard to keep up with, but it's happening. We're dealing with a corrupt judge in Georgia that was caught sleeping with another attorney. They're all tied into the election fraud in Georgia and the persecution of Donald Trump and members of his administration and his attorneys. They're in big trouble. Fannie Willis is hanging on by her fake fingernails, okay? There's a lot going on there. We haven't seen the end of what they did to Tina Peterson in Colorado, okay? And all the corruption and fraud in California and every state in between, from sea to shining sea. We're uncovering corruption, okay? And, you know, any one of those topics, we could sit and talk for a half an hour about them. But that's the way it's got to go. There's a lot of plates spinning at one time. Good night, Lori. Have a good night. I'm being censored again. Can you hear me now? I hope so, Miss Sue, because I'm talking on and on. Hope you all can hear me now. Here we go again. Is this? Let me see. Is this more from? Oh, this is Graham Plattner. He's going to talk about Graham Plattner's tattoo. What he talked about the first time, 40% of abortions are black children, but blacks only make up 15% of the population. Why isn't Southern Poverty Law Center looking at that? That looks like something a white supremacist group would like to do. Wipe out 40% or have 40% of abortions from 15% of the population. He didn't have an answer for it. Let's see what kind of answer he has about this Graham Plattner having a Nazi tattoo. What are you going to do about that, Southern Poverty Law Center?
Do you think that this should disqualify him politically from serving in the Senate?
Again, I'm not sure where the line of questions is going. The SPLC, if you're asking me, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
If you're asking me if the SPLC opposes Nazis and Nazi symbols, the answer is yes.
Yep. The SPLC has referred to this same tattoo as a racist skinhead symbol and tattoo. You can see the resemblance there. You wouldn't want somebody with a tattoo like that in the Senate?
No.
No.
No. He said no. Yeah, like that's going to amount to anything. He'll be in there. Well, I don't know. We got Donald Trump endorsed Susan Collins. That's who's going to be running against that creep, right? Anyway, here's Trump in the Oval Office. I think this is the one where he talks about the oil getting through 22 ships in one night. And that has been ongoing, and they haven't said much about it. Hi, Mac. How you doing? Nice to see you. Oh, by the way, I put a link in the description. I mean, in the chats. I keep saying description because I said it for so many years. I put a link in the chats for Buy Me a Coffee. If anybody wants to help the channel out, I appreciate it. It's a totally viewer-supported channel. That's why you don't have any commercials to skip. Every now and then you have a mic not cut on. But hey, nobody's perfect. But I tell you what, starting off this week, Miss Mendersu, Kapow, and Gary, and Mike and Bev. And as I see Robin in the chats, along with a lot of people who helped out with Buy Me Coffee last week, I appreciate it. Everybody, I'm putting the hearts up. So anyway, the link is in the chats at the 1 hour mark, roughly 1 hour mark. But anyway, here's Donald Trump. Let's see if he talks about the tankers slipping through. And this is also during this meeting, he pretty much told them we're coming to retaliate. And like I said, they told him the exact hour, and they couldn't do a damn thing about it.
This war is over. You know, I can say it now. Something you didn't know. Do you know we've been taking out millions of barrels of oil? Nobody knows it. You know who doesn't know about it? Iran, until right now. We took out the other night 22 ships, late at night with no lights, because they don't have any radar, because we blasted the crap out of it. We took out, that's why oil's $85 a barrel. I mean, you take a look. Remember when I did this, I said, look, the one bad thing will be we hit the best economy we've ever hit. And I said to my people, I had Scott, I had Howard, I had Pete, I had all of them. I had Todd in the room. I said, the one thing we have to do now, we had just hit the highest stock market in history, highest 401ks in history. Everything was going well. And I said, I hate to do this to you guys, but Iran's going to have a nuclear weapon very soon. We have to go and attack. So we hit them with the B-2 bombers, which took a lot of courage. It was totally successful. We buried it, very hard to get. But now we had to make the second move. And I said, you know, the bad part is the stock market will go down by a lot based on predictions of.
Yeah, well, he said oil was down around 85, and it was this morning. And it's gone up a little bit. But like I said, they've been getting millions of barrels out of there. Where's the last ticker I got on the stock market? It was 89 something. And see, the markets thrive on certainty. Uncertainty causes unstable markets, right? And I think it's part of the reason why Trump said, we're coming in at 5 o'clock and we're going to thump you. And then CENTCOM says, we're finished. It's not a mystery, everybody going to bed or worrying about their stock trades. What's going to happen? Is there going to be an escalation or even a wider war? No, we were told what was going to happen. It did happen, and now it's finished. So then you have market stability. Brent last day financial, 88.06. You can see at 8 o'clock in the morning, it was 85 and some change. Previous close, 85.65. And it went up $2.41. So, I saw something I hadn't seen before. When I went to do the screenshot, I was on Google, right? Right when I hit the button to do the screenshot, the numbers turned from black, 88.06, turned to red. The screenshot was taken, and then the letters returned to black. Red means alarm, subconsciously. I'm just telling you, they think of every little damn thing they can think of to disrupt people's peace of mind, okay? I got to put this up from Clandestine. I'm going to put this up from Clandestine. He put this picture with it. Right here. There he is. It will all work out well in the end, right? And these are the signals people need to have, to keep a stable economy, not have people freaking out. Remember the toilet paper? I find it amusing that some people think Trump is just blissfully unaware about the upcoming midterms. Meanwhile, in reality, red states have been gaining seats by legally redrawing congressional maps. Trump is about to sign the Secure American Act, not to be confused with the Save America, okay, which fully funds ICE DHS throughout his term, which he has hinted will be involved in election security, a necessary precursor to the Save America Act and or executive order to secure elections. Trump also planned for our operations in the Middle East to be concluded before the midterms. Gas prices will be down, stock market will be up, and Trump will have positive optics. Then there's also Russia and Ukraine. Let me get my other screen up. Whoa, there we go. Which, if he were to settle a deal between now and midterms, would be a massive feather in Trump's cap and a huge boost for GOP candidates. Then there's all the fraud investigations, criminal referrals for Walsh in Minnesota, treasonous conspiracy cases, etc., which could be used to damage the Dems' optics leading into the midterms. Any manner of exposure, declassification, or October surprises could be deployed. My point is, Trump is setting himself up to be in prime position heading into November. And it's not an accident. He's extremely aware about the midterms, and pieces are slowly moving into place. Combine all the positive optics with better congressional maps, election security, peace deals, etc., and the Dems are facing a historic bloodbath in November. Timing is everything. Trump knows exactly what he is doing. Trust. So I am in agreement, concurrence with everything there that was just said. Here's a post from Donald J. Trump. He's there when you need him, Lindsey Graham. How many times have I said that? Trump's backed him every step of the way. Congratulations to Senator Lindsey Graham of the great state of South Carolina on his big win tonight. With almost 60% of the vote against a large field of very capable candidates, there will be no runoff. Now Lindsey will be able to devote his time to passing in the desperately needed and long overdue Save America Act. President Donald J. Trump, well, let's hope that gets passed, for crying out loud. But that ain't going to happen if we don't get rid of this woman here. I have never seen a picture of her. Oh, that's Senator Marsha Blackburn. But no, she's pressing to term limit the parliamentarian who was installed under Clinton, I believe, and reappointed by Barack Hussein Obama. Parliamentarian Elizabeth McDonough has been in Trump's crosshairs since she ruled the Save America Act was not covered by the Byrd Rule, which they prevented it from becoming part of the reconciliation. So they're using a parliamentarian to do parliamentarian tricks to prevent us from requiring voter ID. Here's President Trump again in the Oval Office. Let's see what the issue. Oh, here is where he's going to back Susan Collins. I mean, what other choice? I mean, she's going to. Am I right about that? Is she the one got to go up against Graham Plattner? Yeah, I believe it is.
In Maine, are you all in supporting Susan Collins? Does she have your full support and endorsement in her Senate
She does
re-election?
because she's a sane woman. She's not my best friend at all. These guys are. I get along well, but I have some. But she's a sane person, and she's a person that never missed a vote in many years. I mean, she's had 10,000 votes. She had 10,000 votes. She never missed a vote. Unfortunately, because sometimes she voted against me. Look, she's a sane woman, and she's a respected person. Maybe a little different ideology than me, but this guy is a thug. He's a fake thug. He's a phony. I made a lot of money picking out phonies. He's a real phony. He's a bad person.
Mr. President, are you going to go?
Yeah, I mean, we can't lose a Senate seat. And we got to put our thumb behind our ear, figuratively speaking. We're going to do it. Here's Donald Trump again. See what the topic is here. I'm just wondering if it's going to be some judges step in where it's so obvious and blatant that they want to continue with no voter ID, that things get really wiggy.
Too long to get to a deal. I want to make sure I quote you correctly. You said that now they will have to pay the price.
Yeah.
What did you mean by that specifically?
Well, we're going to be attacking them very hard.
You're resuming bombing?
Yeah, well, we are. Based on the helicopter, I guess we have the right to do that. They shot down a very incredible, actually an incredible machine. And at first they said they didn't do it, then they admitted they did. It was sort of easy because we have the bomb. We actually have the bomb. We got very lucky that bomb didn't explode. That bomb was lodged in the helicopter. It didn't explode. It was on fire, but it didn't explode. Those two guys, they knew how to fly, but they got very lucky. And then we had the unmanned boat going very, very fast at speeds that you wouldn't want to go. That's why it's unmanned, I guess, because nobody can go in that. But they rescued. So both people are, fortunately, the pilots are okay. No, look, I've been working with Iran for a number of months, and they should sign their deal. It's a good deal. It doesn't give them the right to have a nuclear weapon. In fact, it totally prohibits them from ever having a nuclear weapon. And it was just tap, tap, tap. I don't know what they're doing. So they then shot at our helicopter. Very expensive helicopter, by the way, but much more importantly, the two men, fortunately, they're okay. But an amazing rescue. If you ever get a clip, you won't believe the rescue, how cool it was. The equipment we have. Look, we have the strongest military in the world. And I gave them a break at the request of Pakistan. The Field Marshal and the Prime Minister of Pakistan are great. We stopped them from going to war with India. You would have had a nuclear war if it wasn't for me. But they became friendly to me, very friendly, and they're close to Iran, and they worked, and they still are working on trying them to do what's right. But we want a deal that's meaningful. We want a deal that works. We don't want to just have a Barack Hussein Obama deal, JCPOA, the worst deal. That was a path to a nuclear. It's the exact opposite. You know, I like on television, they say, oh, they should have kept that deal. First of all, it was over. It was a short-term deal. But that deal was a path to a nuclear weapon. This is a path against a nuclear. You can't have a nuclear weapon. His was a path to a nuclear weapon. They were developing, during his administration, nuclear weapon. If they had a nuclear weapon, there'd be no Israel, there'd be no Middle East, and they would have absolutely shot at us. So we'll see what happens. But we hit them hard yesterday, and we're going to hit them again hard today, in case you miss it, in case you don't turn on your television set. And we'll see what happens with the deal. We were really close to a deal.
And you know, if you didn't hear Trump say it over and over and over again, if they get a nuclear weapon, what they will do with it, they will use it. And we can't, it's got to stop. We can't allow it. But you don't hear the regular president. As a matter of fact, Kristen Welker was interrupting Trump. I didn't play that clip, where she was saying, well, everything was fine till you tore up the deal, the Iran deal. You tore up the Iran deal. And then he tried to answer, wait a minute. And she said, no, let's talk about something else. That's another one of their tactics. They put in their narrative opinion and then try to change the subject before there can be a response. It's nauseating. It's nauseating. Well, they tried to slip another tanker through in the Gulf. Let me see what the name of it was. I showed you one, and I showed you footage of one that we hit in the engine room. And this looks similar, but it's not. It's a different ship. And the name is totally different. Let me see. Well, it's for out of St. Paulo or whatever. But anyway, here are these brief, something you notice about these. Why are these videos so brief? See it out there smoking? 3 seconds. Anybody got an idea why they're so brief? I'll tell you why. They're so brief because you don't want to be, your signal will be intercepted. And you're the next one that gets it. Or the Iranians get you. You do a little burst video. Anyway, here's the actual strike. So this is the second one in 3 days. I remember CENTCOM had briefed that they turned back 170 ships with the Iranian blockade. And at the time, 17 of them had to be disabled. So I guess that's a, let me play it again. Is that heat signature? Well, they blurred it out. See that block under there? But I guess they get a heat signature where they know exactly where the motor is, the engines are. And kaboom, and that's it. You could, bring a tugboat and tow it out of here or whatever, but it ain't going through. Oh, I got all kinds of clips from things getting blown up during different strikes. I'm not going to. Same thing. You see black sky and then red. Let me see what this one is. Another black screen. I don't know if this is a little bit. Oh, Brandon Gilligan. House Judiciary Committee examines conduct. A Southern Poverty Law Center. Now this is undeniable fraud. Where they're soliciting money and then creating Jesse Smollett type incidences and helping to incite public hostility, in this case against white people. And they're doing it in a fraudulent manner. So it's a lot more serious than just the face of the hearings, what we're seeing.
Your organization said that restricting and banning abortion is a tool of that the far right uses to maintain white supremacy. Do you believe that pro-lifers are white supremacists?
I believe that reproductive liberty is...
No, do you believe that pro-lifers are white supremacists?
I will tell you what I believe if you're asking.
Yes or no?
I can't answer that question, yes or no.
I don't think that pro-lifers are white supremacists. Do you?
What I think is that reproductive liberty is a right that every woman should enjoy.
How many babies in the United States that are aborted are black? About 40%.
This is a replay.
Nationwide
This is a replay of the statistics, except this is from C-SPAN. It's a semi-double clip. Let him make his point. 40% of abortions are black, 15% of the population.
Of black babies, blacks represent about 13% of the population. Does that sound like something a white supremacist would oppose?
What I would say again is that SPLC supports reproductive liberty.
Calling somebody a white supremacist is a pretty serious charge, isn't it? I would think you would be able to defend that if your organization says that. You clearly seem unable to.
Mr. Gill, I'm not sure why you would think I'm unable to do anything.
Because you're the president of the SPLC, which labels pro-lifers as racists.
Well,
does your organization just hurl around epithets like that without any justification?
Mr. Gill, what we do is
I'm giving you the opportunity to
You're not giving me the
Mr. Chairman, what's he referring to? And can he let the witness answer the question? This is outrageous.
No, it's not. The time
Allow him to
belongs-
speak.
I know you don't like my
What are you
question.
referring to?
Time
I know you
belongs-
don't like my question.
What are you referring to,
Time
Mr. Gill?
belongs to the gentleman from
My time
Texas.
here.
It's now expired, but he will be able to ask his last question, and we'll give the witness a chance to respond.
All right, I'll give my last question to Dr. King. Dr. King, are pro-lifers white supremacists?
Pro-lifers cannot be white supremacists. Pro-lifers believe in life from the womb to the tomb and beyond. Pro-lifers fight for every baby in the womb, regardless of skin color. We have been aborted as blacks in America disproportionately. And so the white supremacists are Planned Parenthood, who admitted that they do have racist underpinning with an agenda to reduce the black population by abortion.
That's right. Thank you, Dr. King.
Another member of the black community that's been silenced through ignoring. She's been ignored. Dr. Alveda King. And same with Thomas Sowell and any other number of black conservatives. I'm glad I played that all the way through. I knew there was a reason I had a double clip of that. But yeah, she put it out there. Who's the real white supremacists? The ones who are for Planned Parenthood. California scrambles to block Fed's election probe as voter fraud continues. Concerns explode. They're fighting efforts by the Trump administration to examine its voter rolls, setting up a legal showdown. Well, it's going to get probably subpoenaed by a grand jury, so I think it's the way it's headed. Because on and on we come up with stories. Where's the one about they found a bunch of ballots locked up in a library or somewhere? Where is that? And I'm like, oh, no kidding. Do tell, you found a bunch of ballots somewhere. Is this it? Yeah. Oh, no, I don't know. Wait a minute. CNN has got to be something against Republicans. Oh, here it is. This is to get people to think that Donald Trump is being a dictator, stopping the post office. State election officials could soon face a stark choice. Hand over voter lists to the Trump administration or risk losing Postal Service delivery for mail-in ballots. Postal Service won't deliver mail-in ballots for states that don't hand over voter lists under plan for Trump directive. Do you think a judge will try to overturn that and say Trump is acting illegally? How much you want to bet? Here we go with the ABC's reporting on the event there at the UFC event. There it is. Freedom 250. The Justice Department is urging a federal judge to reject a lawsuit seeking to stop the White House UFC event scheduled for this weekend, attacking its plaintiffs as two people who believe they have superior taste and want to spoil the event for everyone else. In a filing Tuesday evening, the department argued the lawsuit brought by two Virginia residents, Virginia, part of the DMV, D.C., Maryland, Virginia. How many is it? They got a corrupt judge there? We'll see. It lacks any reasonable standing while describing the timing of the filing as inexcusable, given the event was first announced nearly a year ago. So is the judge going to put an injunction on the UFC event? Is the judge going to put an injunction on the Postal Service? We'll see. We'll see about all of it. Here's another Fox News clip. Let's see what we got. Oh, is this about KARMELO again? Yeah. He's already filed his appeal. Did y'all hear about that? They've already filed an appeal. But the Give, Send, Go has been taken down, is what I heard. They'll find some other way to get money. You know, his mother was the only one who stood up at sentencing. And I was watching attorneys on YouTube and different places. They were saying, I've had serial killers. I've had all kinds of horrible people. They'll have their sister, their brother, their aunt, their uncle, their spiritual advisor. All these people get up to try to save them a little bit. How you doing, Sue? Sweet daydreams. How you doing? And all they had for KARMELO was his mother. And they're saying that he should have gotten on the stand. Well, first of all, you can't make people get up and say good things about somebody, no matter who they are. But the father not getting up there is very telling. Remember when I said the other night that I recalled them putting out videos where the father had intimated that he wanted his son to stand his ground. He wanted his son to be able to, I'm using air quotes, defend himself. In other words, to bring something to school, like a knife, to not take no guff off of people, to be aggressive. And I said, if that's the case, he should be charged. But the other thing, so I think he was probably looking at something like that. That's my own personal thoughts. I think those videos have been reviewed by the prosecution. The statements made by the family when they were putting out all those videos. And he was probably told, he's a minor and you're the parent. We're kind of looking at you. You get what I'm saying? But that aside, maybe that's not why he didn't get up there. Maybe he's just a coward. And a lot of times parents try to live their lives vicariously through their kids. They get their kids to act and do things in a way they wish they would have, to maybe get vengeance for their past things that irked them in life. And I think he did that with his son. And I think he does bear responsibility. Now, KARMELO not going on the stand, if he'd have got on the stand, his past history would have came out. I remember hearing things about him getting in trouble for bringing a weapon to school in the past. And it was an issue for him in the past. What kind of crimes has he committed in the past? He's got a clean record? What do you think? And you see him with pictures holding a machine gun and all this kind of stuff, or AR-15 or whatever. So, no, if he got on the stand, everything would have come out about him. But the father not going to bat for his son when he's facing, they had no idea. It could have been 99 years. Yeah, he got 35, and people saying it's not long enough, and I agree. I thought it should have been something like, in some states they have 30 to life, 20 to life, which means you got to do at least 30, possibly your life. If he'd got 30 to life, he would have been eligible for parole in 30 years. He could be 49 years old sitting in a restaurant ordering food and a free person at 49 with 30 to life. And now they gave him 35 years, not to life, 35. So he would be eligible parole in 17 and a half years. 17 and a half years, that's the same age the victim was. So, given our past brushes with judges like Ketanji Brown Jackson and, these other fools we got to get removed from the bench, we'll take the 35. I mean, and he's got to have a clean nose. He's got to keep his nose clean, or you don't get parole. Okay, what do you think the chances of that are going to be? But anyway, now this is about Iran. So anyway, people are always speculating about how he's going to be treated in prison. A lot of that, people try to prognosticate that he's going to get some punishment that he deserves in prison and all this kind of stuff. They hear that the gangs are after him because he claimed he was a part of a gang member, that a lot of the prisoners can't stand him because what he did was a sucker move, a cowardly move. And you know what he did? He didn't sucker punch that kid. He sucker stabbed him. That kid had no idea he was in mortal danger. He didn't even believe he was going to get punched in the face. He thought it was just a, come on, maybe a little scuffle or scrap or something. But I don't believe he even thought he was at risk of a black eye. He was set up and sucker stabbed. And for some people, a prison population, that ain't good. You can be rejected by certain elements. But the bottom line, I know I'm off topic from what's on the screen, but I did want to say this. I didn't want to close the broadcast out down the road and say, oh, gee, I forgot to bring this up. When it comes to prisons, especially when people are in for a period of decades, everybody that comes and goes in those prisons, they are to be used. All right? The people that are established, the ones who control the gangs, are the ones who run the block. If they can be used money-wise, okay, they can be used to do dirty work. They can use to be the shoe shine punk. They can use to be a girlfriend. That's just the way it is. No, he's not going to get taken out. You hear people talking about it. Oh, they're going to take him out because he claimed he was part of a gang and a gang's going to get him. And no. They'll use him. Everybody is a commodity. There aren't human beings in there. And so, no, he'll be doing his time. But that family keeps getting money. It's going to be going into that prison, all right, for whoever's running the show in there. And then when that runs out, they'll just keep drawing his lifeblood out of him, He's not going to be respected. So anyway, he's going to have a miserable time of life, I'll tell you that. But anyway, so this is a report. Well, we've already gone over the Iran situation, but since I got it on the screen, I've had it on here. Hi, Sparky, how you doing? I'll go ahead and play it. This was before the retaliation was announced. And very quickly after this report, the time of the retaliation was announced. It happened at the time. 3 hours later, it ceased. That is to keep the markets calm and the rest of the world. And to let Iran know that when Trump says he's going to do something, he's going to do it. But anyway, here we go.
I just got off the phone with President Trump, and he gave Fox News some brand new details on what happened with that Apache helicopter that went down earlier this week, and provided his thinking on where things stand with the negotiation. I want to start with a story the president told me, new details about the downing of this U.S. Army Apache helicopter. President Trump tells Fox News that the Iranian drone lodged in between the two pilots in this helicopter. They were flying very low. And at that point, the drone didn't explode as it had intended to. And so these pilots were trying to take down the helicopter with the drone lodged into this gunship without it exploding. And at any moment, it could have exploded, the president told me. And he said it was on fire. There was a lot of heat inside the cockpit of this helicopter. And ultimately, these two pilots were able to take it down into the sea, where ultimately they were rescued for the first time in U.S. military history by an unmanned sea drone. Now, President Trump also talked about the U.S. strikes last night against Iranian radar systems and air defense sites. He said the Iranians had tried to rebuild during the ceasefire their defensive capabilities, but they were unable to stop these U.S. strikes overnight, and they were hammered by U.S. fighter jets. Now, interestingly, President Trump told me that he is getting close to ordering new strikes against Iranian power plants and bridges because he says the Iranians are tapping the United States along when it comes to the negotiating process. He says the bully of the Middle East is dead, and he told me I may keep going when I asked him about a possible response to the Iranian missile fire that targeted U.S. forces in Kuwait, Bahrain, and Jordan overnight. The president said they had a chance to sign a deal and survive, indicating again that he may order new strikes against the Iranian regime in response to their dragging their feet at the negotiating table. Again, though, the latest information that we got from President Trump about that helicopter that went down earlier this week, really a remarkable story. The president called it a miracle. This drone hits the Apache helicopter, lodges between the two pilots. It's on fire, and there's a massive amount of heat coming out of the drone, but it doesn't explode. And these pilots very quickly, within seconds, because they're flying very low, take the helicopter down into the sea. And then ultimately, about 2 hours later, according to U.S. Central Command, they are rescued for the first time in U.S. military history by an unmanned sea drone. Again, the president ordering those strikes overnight to target Iranian radar systems and those air defense sites that the Iranians have tried to rebuild during the ceasefire. They weren't supposed to do that, but the president said just a few percentages of that defensive capability they were able to rebuild. And President Trump says they took out about 55% of what they were even able to rebuild. But just a remarkable story about these U.S. pilots from the Army that were able to survive this ordeal against an Iranian drone lodged into their helicopter. And again, President Trump ordering those powerful strikes overnight to send a message to the Iranian regime that he is not done. And if they are unwilling to make a deal, the president tells Fox News he may keep going.
Yeah, so there's negotiations going on, and Trump has still got the hammer raised, and he'll drop the hammer down if he has to. And I played this video at the beginning that Trump played concerning proportional retaliation. Oh, here's that picture I was telling you was put on a Telegram channel with no comment. Tell me what you all think of this. This was 10 minutes before CENTCOM announced they had completed their mission. And like I said, well, it might have been 5 minutes. It was between 5 and 10 minutes. This came up on the feed. It looks to me like a top of a mountain getting blown off. No comment, just the photograph. Between 5 and 10 minutes later, CENTCOM announced they finished their mission. But anyway, for those of you who didn't see it, and those of you who didn't want to see it now, I'm going to play this video that Trump posted on Truth Social. It is a scene from the West Wing, and its proportionality is mentioned in the laws of war. I can tell you about a very famous case, Smiling Albert Kesselring. He was a field marshal, the highest you can get in the German army, a field marshal, Kesselring. He was in the Battle of Monte Cassino in Italy. He was involved at very high levels with the Third Reich, right? He was tried in Nuremberg. He got sentenced, I think it was like 10 years in jail. But he almost got the death penalty because something happened where some prisoners of war were executed, I believe by the Italians. German prisoners of war. And that's a violation of the laws of war, the Geneva Convention. You're allowed retaliation. In other words, you can violate the laws of war. And that's what happened. The Germans took, I believe it was 12 prisoners of war in retaliation and took them out and put them before a firing squad. The argument about Kesselring was that it was 11 German soldiers and he ordered 12. And because of that one extra soldier, that he should face the death penalty. And his defense was, I wasn't aware of the details. I was back and forth between Monte Cassino. That's a very famous battle that happened in Italy just before the liberation of, before the capture of Mussolini. But anyway, so the retaliation has to be proportionate if you're going to retaliate with a similar violation of the laws of war. And here they're saying to the president that we got to do a proportional response. And the president, and here's Martin Sheen, is saying, what's the virtue of proportionality? My point is, I believe for decades, they've taken that rule, that law of war, and applied it to general combat circumstances, not retaliating for illegal actions. And they're making every conflict, every individual battle, a legal question rather than general combat. And what Sheen is saying is, tell me what is so virtuous and so good about just responding proportionately every time something happens. And they couldn't come up with an answer. And I believe this is why Trump posted it, because not everything is like the Kesselring case, where prisoners are unlawfully executed and you're able to retaliate like-kind retaliation. No, when general combat is somebody hits you once, you're able to hit them back 10 times. Okay? That's not a war crime. All right? It's combat operations. So anyway, I know it's a little convoluted. I appreciate you all listening to me. I'm going to end up with this clip, and I'm also going to put a link in the chats to buy me a coffee if anybody wants to help the channel out. But I'm telling you, this message with this clip is important because they started this garbage during the Vietnam War. And it carried into all these other 20-year-long conflicts. Afghanistan, the rules of engagement were acting like everything was a potential legal case. And it's not the case in combat and in battle. So anyway, a link is in the description if anybody wants to help the channel out. And enjoy this clip. Hope you kind of get it in your mind what I'm trying to communicate, what Trump is trying to communicate. So anyway, folks, what I always say, I say thank you for spending your precious time with me. I should be going live tomorrow night. If you're subscribed, you'll know when I go live. So anyway, folks, I hope you enjoy the clip. Have a great night. This is Mountain Man, over and out.
Scenario 1, or Pericles 1, to use its code name, sir.
What is the virtue of a proportionate response?
I'm sorry?
What is the virtue of a proportional response? Why is it good? They hit an airplane, so we hit a transmitter, right? That's a proportional response.
Sir, in the case of Pericles,
they hit a barracks, we hit 2 transmitters.
That's roughly it, yes, sir.
This is what we do. I mean, this is what we do.
Yes, sir. It's what we do. It's what we've always done.
Well, if it's what we do, if it's what we've always done, don't they know we're going to do it?
Sir, if you turn your attention to Pericles 1.
I have turned my attention to Pericles 1. It's 2 ammo dumps, an abandoned railroad bridge, and a Syrian intelligence agency.
Those are 4 highly rated targets, sir.
But they know we're going to do that. They know we're going to do that. Those areas have been abandoned for 3 days now. We know that from the satellite, right? We have the intelligence.
Sir.
They did that, so we did this. It's the cost of doing business. It's been factored in, right?
Mr. President.
Am I right, or am I missing something here?
No, sir, you're right, sir.
Then I ask again, what is the virtue of a proportional response?
It isn't virtuous, Mr. President. It's all there is, sir.
It is not all there is.
Sir, Admiral Fitzwallace.
Excuse me, Leo. Pardon me, Mr. President. Just what else is there?
The disproportional response. Let the word ring forth from this time and this place, gentlemen. You kill an American, any American, we don't come back with a proportional response. We come back with total disaster.